Literally, as I record this review, there are millions of Californian residents facing periodic power outages as a precautionary measure against more forest fires. And with an increasing amount of electronics in our lives and medical devices even that rely upon a source of electricity, it has never been more important to have your own backup power. This is the Jackery Explorer 250, which contains within a 250 watt-hour battery backup. And conveniently, it also retails for around $250. Now that's a lot of power from a relatively small, just under £7 device. So let's take a closer look. So if you're wondering what 250 watt hours of battery power actually means, then in theory, if you were running a device that required 250 watts of power, it would run for around an hour from this device. In reality, the Jackery Explorer 250 is actually limited to devices up to 200 watts. But a more real-world example might be a LED light strip, which draws up to, say, 50 watts for a 5-meter strip. So a 250 watt-hour battery divided by 50 watts would give you around 5 hours of running time for that device. Another example, a MacBook Pro charger runs at about 60 watts. So you're going to get around 4 to 4.5 hours of charging and usage time for your MacBook Pro. And of course, at the end of that 4.5 hours, your MacBook Pro would be fully charged, so you could carry on using it for whatever battery you had remaining inside the MacBook itself. Another comparison to make might be the battery inside your average mobile phone. These are around 10 to 12 watt hours, so you're going to be able to charge your mobile around 20 times if that's all you were doing with this backup battery. The key difference between the Jackery Explorer 250 and your average mobile backup battery, for instance, other than the size and sheer amount of power stored within, of course, is the fact that you can plug in AC devices. This is the UK model, so you see here we have a UK 3-pin plug. They also have US models, the Jackery 240, which is exactly the same. The only restrictions on AC devices that you plug into this is, as I mentioned, that they should draw no more than 200 watts of continuous power or 400 watts peak. Now this does restrict what you can plug into it. For instance, a household kettle or any other kind of induction heating device won't run off of this. Those typically require a kilowatt to maybe 3 kilowatts of peak power. If you try to plug something like that into this, it'll simply shut down. So if you do have a specific device in mind that you want to power off of this, do check the power rating first and look at it. If it's anywhere up to 200 watts, you should be absolutely fine running it off of this. And you'll be able to do a quick calculation of how long it might be able to run, simply by dividing 250 by the power rating of your device to get the number of hours. In addition to the 240 volt AC for the UK or 110, 120 volt for the US market, the Jackery 250 also provides a 12 volt car adapter, otherwise known as a cigarette lighter here in the UK, as well as 2 5 volt USB ports at a maximum of 2.4 amps each, or fast charging. Each of these output options is equipped with a separate power switch, and all you need to do to activate it is just press the button and then the device is turned on. However, do bear in mind that that 200 watt limit applies to all of the sockets and things that you have plugged in, not just the AC device itself. So 5 volt at 2.4 amps, if you have your mobile phone plugged in, that's going to take about 12 watts of power, which will lower the rating of everything else that you can plug in. However, so long as they don't exceed 200 watts, you can still plug in as many things as you like and run them all at once. The device itself is fairly rugged, with this solid ABS case featuring a helpful carrying handle on top. All the ports and the LCD display are on a single side, so they're all really easy to access. And the display can be activated briefly even when nothing is plugged in. It shows the current percentage of battery remaining, as well as the input and the output power in watts, which is really helpful to ensure you're not overloading, as well as being able to see at a glance how much power is being fed into the unit from whatever thing you're charging it from. In terms of charging the Jackery Explorer 250, you have a couple of options. The first, of course, is a standard AC wall socket adapter. That'll take approximately 8 hours for a full recharge. Then you also have a 12-volt car adapter, something that can be plugged into the cigarette lighter, not here obviously, but in your car. And again, that'll also take 8 hours. However, since that's going to be draining your car battery, you should only plug that in when you're actually driving and topping up the battery rather than overnight. Otherwise, you stand the chance of draining your car battery, which wouldn't be good. Also worth noting is the inclusion of a neat little neoprene case to store the charger and car adapter. I really appreciated that, and it helps you to not lose those cables. Another option is to charge the Jackery from an optional extra purchase, the 60 watt or 100 watt solar panels. On a bright day, the solar panel is going to take about 10 hours at full sunlight to give you a full charge. All of these charging options plug into the single 8mm DC input on the front. Now that's a standard DC input size, so you may find third-party accessories that can also charge it up, and the Jackery can take a maximum of 42 watts of input power. So any of these charging options is obviously fairly long time, 8 to 10 hours regardless of what method you use. And this is really the only downside to the Jackery Explorer 250. Not that there are any competing products that are particularly faster, but it would have been nice to see some technologies such as the fast charging that you can use with an electric car, where say you could get to 90% battery full in an hour or something like that. On the plus side, and this is a big plus, you can both charge and use the Jackery Explorer 250 at the same time. In practice, there's a few things that I really liked about the Jackery Explorer 250. The first is just the sheer amount of power and the portability that you have with this thing. It's incredibly easy to just pick it up, put it in the car, or carry it down to wherever you need to use it. And while I wouldn't call it ruggedized as such, there's no rubber bumpers on the edges to protect it against falls, it is, however, in a very strong plastic case and really doesn't look like it's going to break unless you drop it from about 6 feet up. For real-world testing, we've been using the Jackery Explorer 250 down in a cabin that we just built in the garden, which otherwise doesn't have any AC power at the moment. So I plugged in a 180 watt electric knife that we've been using to chop down insulation panels, and really it's performed like a champ. The battery lasts much longer than my body can. I was exhausted well before this was. The second thing I really like is the usability. With these one-touch buttons to activate the various sockets, it's just incredibly easy to use. On some other AC power banks that I've used, you either had to long hold or double tap or do something else that I've lost the manual for and can no longer figure out how to do. This one button, it's on, it's easy. In addition to that, the LCD display, which tells you exactly how much power you're using, how much power you're putting in, is really helpful to avoid overloading and to give you an idea of just how long it's going to last. The exact battery percentage is a lot more useful than the random 5 blue LEDs that you find on a lot of backup power banks. So the Jackery Explorer, as the name suggests, is probably more targeted towards the adventure types, those who like to go up on camping trips and carry along some serious power with them. But with forest fires, flooding, and other natural disasters increasing in frequency and intensity, I think it's never been more important to build resiliency into every aspect of your life, especially if you're reliant on electrically powered medical devices like a CPAP machine. Short of getting a Tesla Powerwall installed at home, which is both prohibitively expensive and not portable, of course, the Jackery Explorer range offers a seriously good, budget-friendly alternative to actually having some backup power available to you at home. Even if it's just to keep your mobile phone charged for an extra week or two, I think the Jackery Explorer range should be an absolutely essential bit of kit for every family home. And when combined with a suitable solar-powered charging option, this could give you a really sustainable power source for a long time to come. Please don't wait for an emergency to actually happen before you prepare for it. Anyway, thank you for watching this review. I hope you found it helpful in some way and that it helped you to make your mind up about purchasing a Jackery Explorer 250 or one of the other options in the range. If you do need something for higher powered devices, they do also have the Jackery Explorer 500, which does, obviously, as the name suggests, roughly twice the amount of power and can take devices up to 400 watts continuous. If you didn't like this review for any reason at all, please hit us up in the comments and let me know why. I would really appreciate your feedback. Do consider subscribing for more weekly reviews, gadget giveaways and tech tutorials from all of us at makeuseof.com. Until next time, stay safe. Oh hey, still watching? Then you'll be pleased to know that Jackery has given us another Explorer 250 to give away to one lucky viewer. Just head on over to the link in the description or go to makeuseof.com/giveaways, where you'll find the full review of the Explorer 250 model. At the end of that review, there's a giveaway widget. Just pop your details in there and you'll be in with a chance of winning. For some bonus entries, when asked, type in the code JACKERYPOWER and you'll get some extra entries in the competition to increase your chances of winning. The competition closes in about 4 weeks and the winner will be notified by email, so please add competitions@makeuseof.com to your address book to ensure our message doesn't go into spam. We aren't going to email you otherwise, so if you get that email, you have won. Good luck and thanks for watching. Until next time.